Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Around Campus. For the past few days, people around Mepham may have seen a familiar face in the hallways. Mr. DeTommaso, our former superintendent, who has come to fill in as our assistant principal while Mr. Dell is out for a few weeks. How are you doing today, Mr. DeTommaso?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me back. It's always a pleasure to be at BMB. I mean, it's been a few months, but you know what? It looks great. You guys doing amazing work. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course, we are so happy to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
Now, most people here will remember you as our superintendent before Mr. Harrington. How has retirement been treating you?
Very well, I would say. You know, when I retired as the proud and honored superintendent of the Bellmore-Merrick Central High School District, as I always like to say, June 30th, I really, after the first few months, I went right to St. John's University to coach Division I lacrosse there. I spent the year up until about June 15th or so, you know, working with the team. It was an amazing experience. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I had not been involved in that level of lacrosse since 1986, I think. So it was really good to get back and work with kids and work with really young adults at that age. And so really it's only been, I feel like, the first 2 or 3 months now that I've been retired. You know, the summer came and it was kind of typical summer as it would be if I was still in Bellmore-Merrick. And then it was starting September. My wife's an elementary school teacher. She went back to work and there I was, you know, and it was actually very nice and got into some great routines, spent a lot of time with my little pup, you know, so my little puppy, and so it's been very nice. Thank you. I appreciate the asking.
That sounds absolutely incredible. I mean, well-deserved. Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Now, while you were most recently our superintendent, this really is a welcome back to Mepham for you. It was all the way back in 1988.
Oh, goodness gracious.
When you were first here as a social studies teacher. In all of those years, what would you say is the most different about Mepham since 1988?
Well, since 1988, obviously in that photo I had a lot of hair, so that's changed significantly for me. I mean, looking at this camera now and then looking at that photo, wow, a lot has changed in the 30-some-odd years. You know, honestly, Mepham has always been, I always said Bellmore-Merrick was my home away from home, and if Bellmore-Merrick is my home away from home, then I always had an apartment at Mepham. Because, you know, this is where my career began. This is where my love of teaching and learning and working with kids began in 1988. It's some amazing people that worked in the building. So, yeah, it's really wonderful to be back. Not sure I would have done it for other than, you know, Mr. Harrington and Ms. DeMartinez. And so it's really a, you know, pleasure to be back. And I don't, you know, in 1988, it was an incredible staff and great kids. And the truth is, I knew that in 8 years as superintendent, but in these last 3 days, I would say, again, really great staff. It's so nice to see them in action and friendly and caring. You just tell. It was always one of the most spirited places that I had been. Kids are so, you know, they say hello. They don't know who I am. I'm walking around the hallway. Some have an idea, but they always say, good morning, how are you? So it really is, it is not really, you know, changed so much for me in that regard. You know, I think it's just the hair, but, you know, who knows?
Absolutely. Finally, now that you are back in this single high school, what are some day-to-day events and activities that you look forward to being a part of?
I think just a day-to-day interaction with kids. You know, I mean, the hardest part for me when I moved to the central office was not interacting with kids every single day, because that's any educator that gets into this profession, if they're not in this, if they don't get into this for kids and only about kids, then they should be doing something else. So I miss that interaction, you know, over the years. I try to get to the buildings as much as I can and to develop programs and, you know, sort of be part of the creation of something like this, you know, for kids and doing it different ways and for students. But definitely just that interaction, any chance I could get to make a kid's day or help someone out down the road or give some advice. I mean, that's really what I'm looking forward to. And in addition to that, just again, getting the opportunity to work with the Mepham staff, I think is really what I'm you know, those two things I'm really looking forward to.
That personal connection is really hard to come by.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for stopping in today, Mr. DeTommaso.
Yeah, pleasure. Pleasure.
If you see him in the hallways, be sure to say hi. Now, back to you guys in the studio.